Hey, 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 everybody. Happy Thursday. I was a bit nervous that I was going to not be able to make it because of the hurricane, but it blew right over my head. So, woo, we're good to go. Thank God. There was a tornado, though, right around the corner that picked up a car and flipped it into a whole bunch of other cars on the highway. I was like, oh my God.
Mm.
At least it stopped before it got here. So, hope everybody's okay. But how's everyone's week, weekends, things since we've talked last?
I have good news.
Tell me.
So I
Oh,
pushed the
yes.
I pushed the launch button today.
That's so exciting.
24 to 72 hours I should hear from Amazon.
Let me know when you have that Amazon link. Put it in our chat thread. I'll
Yeah.
not only share it there, but I'll share it on my stories and stuff. I have quite a bit of autism moms that follow me, so
Very cool. I'm excited.
I'll be purchasing. I would love to read it. I read another autism mom's book, Autism with a Side of Sushi. It's really good. Uh,
Oh, I'll have to look that up.
yeah, she's a friend of mine on from Instagram. We made friends and we did a giveaway together. Like I gave away some workouts, she gave away a book, and yeah, Autism with a Side of Sushi. It's a really, really good book. I'm sure you won't find any other titles like that. So
No, I'm sure.
the one you see, she's a Japanese woman. She's really awesome.
Cool.
In her book, there was one part, you guys are gonna crack up with this. She was taking her son to therapy, her son David. He reminds me a lot of Tegan and your son as well. He was going to therapy every week. Let me unplug this lullaby because I cannot think when I hear other sounds. I literally can't even speak. Okay. Um, so her son David was going to therapy every week, and when typically you find your slot in therapy, you go to the same time every week, like 3 o'clock on Tuesday or whatever. So in the lobby, I guess there was this kid's dad waiting for him every Tuesday when they were at therapy, and he was like kind of scary looking. And David, her son, goes, "Mom, look, it's Voldemort." If you know Harry Potter.
Oh my God.
So then every week they would go to the lobby, and the same guy would be there, and he would say it every single time. She's like, "It's the most embarrassing thing ever." She's like, "I'm so sorry." I was dying laughing. I'm like, that will be Tegan without a shadow of a doubt. He's just, he don't even, there's no filter. No filter at all. So, oh, Lisa, why don't you introduce yourself? I would love for you and Tracy to get to know each other. Tracy is an autism mom of an older child. I'll let Lisa go ahead. You introduce yourself, and then Tracy, you can kind of share your bits and pieces too.
Hi, Tracy. I'm Lisa. I have an autistic 4-year-old. His name is Jacob. He is in an early childhood education program. We're not, he gets some services at school, speech, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. He only goes for about 2 to 3 hours for 3 days a week. He's getting ready to start the next school year, this coming week after the holiday, our school starts. I'm still learning. So we're in a rural area, so it's hard. I've been trying for the last year to get in-home services for him, and nobody will service our area. For the amount of therapy he needs, it would be a 45-minute drive for us to go to an in clinic, and with the amount of hours that they would want him there for, with how far away we live. I also have a 12-year-old, so the schedules aren't really working out for me to be able to do that. Um,
You should talk
that's
to Jessie more. Did you know Jessie? She's struggling with the same thing because she's in the middle of nowhere. She has to drive 4 hours for a pediatrician.
really, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, she's struggling with a lot of the same things you are in that regard. So I just thought I'd let you know in case you want to chat with her.
Yeah,
Gosh, that's crazy. Oh, I can't even imagine. I just know how much therapy is done for Tegan. It's almost like a blessing in disguise we moved here because I don't think in Michigan the services would have been as quick, like the process wouldn't have been as fast. I feel like South Carolina really got us in there with everything. I mean, he's been in therapy since he was 2. You know what I mean?
that's
Like you don't hear that often, I feel like. So
that's good. Yeah, and Jacob wasn't diagnosed, so he was born in April of 2019. So he was
He's a month older than Tegan. They are like so close.
he was meeting all his milestones kind of as far as I could tell at that point. He always had really strong tantrums, really facial expressions like he couldn't believe and reactions to things. He started out with jaundice really bad. It took about 3 to 4 months for his jaundice to clear.
Does that have anything to
He-
do with autism? Have you heard of a?
I don't know.
Because Tegan did too. It's funny you mentioned that.
He had a
I've had it
tongue
too.
tie.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Interesting. Aurora did. Hers wasn't bad though.
Yeah,
Didn't we
Jack's
talk
wasn't bad.
about Aurora though? How we kind of felt like maybe she could be on the spectrum now that we know more about girls.
I think so, which makes me think that I am, and
Hmm.
so my kids.
I hear that so often. Ever since I got my diagnosis, everyone's asking me like, "What is the next step that I take to figure it out?" And I feel like I don't know. I just
You figured it out plenty. There's no figuring out. It's who you are.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. You don't need a doctor to tell you. I knew before I got the diagnosis. It was just like, I don't know, it was something weird by somebody else saying like, yeah, you hit the nail on the head, you know. And I
The
was
only thing really it does is kind of helps you realize, oh, yeah, that makes
The
sense.
reason, the why behind things.
for
Yeah.
me personally, it's allowed me to not be so hard on myself because I'm such a perfectionist. And I realize like I realize a whole lot now. It's very eye-opening. Just let me just not be so hard on myself, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And with like obviously relationships, that's where I struggle the most, just not being able to keep friends. I swear to God, I scare everybody away, but
Yeah.
it's so hard every time I like. And many people that I talk to even online, I'll somebody recently, what did she say? The way you're talking to me is extremely condescending. You might want to rethink. Like the way she went in on me was, oh my God, I just all I could do was apologize and be like, I didn't feel like it was that way. I don't know. I'm just being honest. Like I was like, I don't know how to sugarcoat shit. I really just don't. I don't know how to do that part. Like I'm
Yep.
trying. I always have to reread my message and throw in like a good morning or like a cute kid cuddly kind of name like babe or love or girlfriend or something, because when I read things back I can see how easily people can misinterpret what I'm saying if I'm not.
And you know what? That's with anybody these days. If you're
It's
communicating through
ridiculous.
text or email or whatever, I make people call me because if I'm going to have a conversation about something and it may be something that's a little bit of a debate or whatever,
Mhm.
I'm not going to talk to you over text or email because I'm going to infer from how I feel.
Right.
I'm going to get offended or you're going to get offended. And
Mhm.
it's so different when you communicate by talking.
Yeah, that's probably most of the problem in America here. Why don't you tell us your backstory, Tracy, so Lisa can get to know you a bit?
Sure, Lisa, my son is now 20 years old. The first diagnosis was Asperger's, which no longer exists as a diagnosis. So he would be considered level 1. He's high functioning. He also has ADD. And these days, it's not so much the autism that causes him the issues, it's the ADD actually, and the executive function issues. Um, I he I just finished, like I said, publishing my first book, which is the early years. This is Jack. And I have a podcast also, which
Mhm.
which should start its third season soon, but I needed to get this book published. It's been and it's you can see from here it's not thick, but let me tell you, it feels like it's like a 300-word thesis what
I
I went through to get it published, because I don't know anything about it. I'm self-publishing. I have lots of people who help me, which is great. Jack is okay with it. I checked with him I talk about him in my podcast. It's his story. I made sure that he was okay with the fact that I was publishing it, that I talk about him in my podcast. The other day I asked him yet again, and he says, "Why do you keep asking me, Mom? I'm fine with it."
He doesn't give a
Oh,
shit. That's how Tegan is with
So,
the pictures. And like, can mommy post your picture? I don't even do it hardly often at all anymore, but he enjoys it. He's like, take my picture. We
yeah.
do our workout videos. He's like, get me in there.
Your Jack, when he was that age, he had this smile, and it was just all teeth, because he knew that's what a smile looked like.
Yeah, Tegan
But
too.
so when you would say to him, "Smile," yeah,
Yeah. He goes,
thought he would
cheese.
never have a real smile. It was hysterical. He started early intervention at 18 months. I had actually at 2 years really. I had some girlfriends take me out when he was, and this is in my book, but when he was 15 months old, and say, "You need to call early intervention." One of them was a special education teacher, another was an occupational therapist, and the third was a special education teacher, occupational therapist, and somebody else I can't remember. Oh, a nurse. Yeah, so they risked the friendship to tell me that there was something wrong with Jack. They didn't tell me he had autism. I was like, okay, because I was having difficulties. Food aversions, transitioning, sensory integration dysfunction, which is now called sensory processing disorder. All kinds of things. Like, this kid ran me through the ringer early on. He was nonverbal for until about, well, he started preschool at 3, and it was just a 2.5 month program, but he didn't really start talking until 4, I would think. Potty training, 5, 6. Yeah, so he's very much, in many ways, he was your typical autistic child. We had to do feeding therapy, which was highly successful for us.
Well, I wish, man. I feel like I need to find a different. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just given up on that for a minute.
It our program was ABA based, and it was inpatient. Well, it was outpatient, but I stayed at the Ronald McDonald House for 5 weeks, and we had 3 sessions Monday through Friday. During the day, I had to stay at the hospital and keep him busy in between the sessions. And then I would drive home Saturday morning, wash my laundry, call Sunday afternoon to see if the house had another room available for us, drive back into Philadelphia on Sunday night, and we would start the whole process over again.
Wow.
It was amazing. I saw parents, lots and lots of kids, be very successful with it. I also saw parents after the first session say, "No, I'm not doing this."
I was just about to ask you, did he have that's where I have trouble when I see him struggling so bad. It's like it overwhelms me. I need to not be a part of it. I can't.
Yeah, see, they put me behind. It was a one-way mirror. I could see them. They couldn't see me. And they recorded things, and they walked me through the whole process. But that first day is intense, because those kids are screaming their heads off. And sometimes they bring in someone behind them they don't hold them down, but they just put their arms in front of their arms. So when they go like this to knock the spoon or fork out, they can't do that. But Jack got it in one day. The crying and screaming stopped in one day. And
Yes, it
after
was
that,
weeks. I kept trying and trying, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it for a minute. I can't.
I couldn't do it. There was no way that I could do it. And after the 5 weeks, they sent us home, and I had to do it for a month, me and my husband. I could not introduce new foods. To this day, I still can't introduce new foods to him. He doesn't eat all of the 22 foods that he came out of there with anymore. His diet is still not what I would consider great. But he still eats a lot of fruit for me, which is good. He does the typical chicken nuggets, mozzarella sticks. He's cooking all of this on his own now. So we have a air fryer that he uses, or he cooks his own pizza in the oven. So he's come a long way. He's come a long way. So when she invited me to the group, I thought, well, I don't have a little child anymore, although I can certainly commiserate with all the things that you guys are going through. I said, I don't know what I would bring to this group, because a lot of the things I went through were 15 years ago. Things have changed a lot since then.
Mhm.
You know, when Jack was diagnosed, I couldn't find anything on autism. I opened up my computer and there was nothing except like medical treatise, you know, talking about sensory issues. And there's not like today where you open it up and you can find everything at your fingertips, you know, all these groups and these blogs, and by autistic people too. Like I follow a few blogs by people with autism, because I want to get their take as an adult on this world and the things that they struggle with, so I understand Jack better as an adult.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so that's kind of that's pretty much our story. Um,
Well, I think you bring a ton to the group, and I love picking your brain. Just like, I mean,
Right.
regardless of how different things are, it's super helpful for me just to hear that. I think for all of us to hear that, like what's possible, and that, your son, he's going to college now, right?
yeah, he takes 3 classes. That's all he can handle. It's a county college. He got his driver's license, which was a difficult thing. He had to take some therapy for that because he had severe anxiety. We sat one day in the driveway for 40 minutes and he couldn't put the car and drive. So he said, I don't know what's wrong with me. My hands are sweaty. Why do I feel this way? And
Oh my God, I feel him on that.
yeah, and I said, honey, you're having an anxiety attack. Um, and that's okay. I understand that. And I said, but I can't help you with this. You need to speak with someone who can. And he said, well, why can't you can help me. You can just tell me. And I said, oh, honey, I'm not trained in that. So within a month, the guy had him taking a few more driving lessons and he got his license. So Jack drives to school. Um, he hates it. He drives like a little old man. It's hysterical. Um, and so he's very careful. So I don't have that problem where, you know, those kids who are driving like maniacs and their moms are all worried because they're driving too fast. And no, my son, if anything, he drives too slow. So, but yeah, so he takes 3 classes. Sometimes he's very successful. We have a 504, but this college doesn't do very well with 504s. And here's where I have to decide how much of a fight I want to give.
What's the
Is
difference
that
between
like an
50?
IEP?
Yeah,
Okay,
Like college?
okay. So first off, um,
I think you can get that at grade school level too, right?
yes,
What's the
you
difference?
can. Okay, so the difference I did do a podcast on this, so you don't have to remember what I'm saying here now, but um, they both resulted from the same law, which is the special education law. However, where an IEP differs from a 504, an IEP is if your child needs help educationally in the school system in order to be as successful as he or she can be. So it'll say they will learn their alphabet at first, or they will learn to write their name. Those will be goals in the IEP. A 504 has nothing to do with
Academics.
academics. A 504, although you can have a 504 that says Johnny needs help tying his shoes,
It's more for like
it's
things.
not Johnny's going to learn to tie his shoes. It's going,
Okay.
Johnny needs help to tie his
So
shoes.
it's not setting goals.
No goals. Mm-mm.
It's more like just letting someone know he needs help with something.
Yes. So you can have a 504 for peanut allergies. You can have a 504, like I said, if there's
Right. Okay.
physically something they can't do and they need help with that. But it has nothing to do with education really, other than like test score. Like I have in his 504 that he needs extra test time to take tests, but I
Mhm.
also had that in his IEP. And the reason I switched from an IEP to a 504 in the 11th grade was because an IEP does not travel to college. They have to go through the entire process again if they want to get an IEP in college. And it was far easier because the 504 will travel to college. Now,
Okay. Good to know.
my 504 is not really college based. It's from the high school. Should I probably be more pushy about it? Maybe. But I get the feeling that this school, like they don't really consider, like it's a county college, so we're saving a lot of money and it's great because it's close to home. But when I said he gets extended time, their idea of giving this person extended time is making them have to jump through hoops to let their professor know, number one, by themselves, to schedule an alternate time to take them the test in one of their many rooms by themselves. Like, this is not what you do to an autistic person. This is not an accommodation. You're making them jump through hoops so that they can take a little longer with a test. Well, my son's like, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not thrilled. At this point, this transition into adulthood it's hard enough for a typical kid, but for our kids, it's really hard. It's
I
really
can
hard.
imagine. Oh, I didn't
But
even think about that.
that's why I don't like to tell people that, though. You know, like, but you know what? It every stage is hard for us. Every stage.
Yeah.
You know, you work through it. You take one day at a time, and usually, your child grows. You grow in understanding, and the next thing you know, that's not a problem anymore. But you're on to the next one.
Right.
You know, so every stage is difficult, you know, so it's just a matter of, and that's what I tell myself every day, that I will work through this just like I work through the other ones.
Yes, I
Just
made
like
it through 100% of the obstacles that's come my way so far. So,
Mhm.
Do you still have like the support or input from like a I don't even know what you like, a worker type, like, so we
yeah,
have
like a social worker or something. Like, how does that work?
So in New Jersey,
a case manager type
Caseworker or something. Yeah.
there's a system that you can get your child into. First, you just have to apply, and I did that when he was in high school, actually, because the sooner you get your name in the system, the better it is for you. And my first struggle was that Jack wanted to be a marine biologist. And
That's what I wanted to be when I was growing up.
as much as I would adore that for him, it didn't fit his personality. And they can't get jobs, and he needed something that fit his personality, but he wasn't. Like, I had a whole conversation in 10th grade with him about it, and we had decided that he was going to look at something more geared toward computers because that's what he likes, and then he forgot that conversation. So they gave me a therapist, basically a social worker, who talked with him, and this was during COVID, so it was Zoom meetings, and she gave him test after test after test about, you know, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? She talked with him about, when you get a job, what things that your employer may do that you're going to be like, why do they do that kind of thing? How not everybody is nice, and they're supposed to help him if he wants to get a job or if he wants to change careers from now until the time he is 80, 90 years old. If he wanted their help, he is in the system, and as long as they still exist, they can help him.
I imagine too, Lisa, that might be different by state. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I don't know what any the other states have. And then when
water in this movement.
Hi, Jacob.
Mom is talking to ladies.
Hi, Jacob. So I had tried to get help from them about getting Jack a summer job, and they assigned some kind of organization. That organization was supposed to contact me, and I told them twice that they never did. And then I got caught up in doing other stuff, and Jack was doing okay, so I was like, oh, I'm not going to push it with them.
Right.
But I'm probably going to be reaching out to them again. Even after he graduates, they will help him get a job in his field, and they will stay with him for the first few months of the job, acting as a communicator with his boss, like a go-between. Like, it's a really great and I forget what it's called.
When you find out, you'll have to drop it in the chat thread, because we should look it up and see if
Okay, I will.
in other areas.
Yeah, because they're really, I'm going to be speaking to a parent group in another school in October, and I need to look it up because I want to make sure that the child study team, they're not allowed to like push this group, this this thing onto their people that they're not permitted to or whatever. It's
Right.
up to the parent to find out about it and go look for it. So I want to make sure that these parents know about this resource, this amazing resource. I mean, they would even, like, I could contact them, and with our income, she was talking about college tuition reimbursement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, just the avenues right now are just really, really fabulous. So and then when he needed that help with the driving, I contacted a place called Ascenda, which was a place where you could get counseling. And I explained to the woman on the line the problem he was having, and she paired him with someone she felt would help him. And he really did. He really did. And then, like I said, in a month, Jack was like taking his driver's test. I couldn't believe it.
That's so
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's a win.
Yeah. Oh my God. We've had so many wins, ladies. I can't tell you how far he has come from the little boy who couldn't talk, who only ate 2 foods, you know, who couldn't transition, I mean, you just keep, they do grow. They do grow. It's just their own time. It will, I can't guarantee that your child will be high functioning someday and be able to do the same thing my son does, but you should
Right.
never, ever compare your child to anybody else, because just like every neurotypical person is different, the neurodiverse person is different too. So you take one day at a time, you help them as much as you can, you love them as much as you can, and you just keep going. You just keep going, and you take care of yourself too, which is why I love, Brittany, what you push out,
Yay.
because we forget, we put ourselves last, and we don't, it doesn't occur to us until it's too late that we should have put ourselves first sometimes, because when we're down, there's nobody else to take care of them.
I know that's
So
right.
that's what I love about your group and your posts, and I'm all about positivity. Being negative, we can get really angry, because we're constantly having to fight for services, and we're constantly having people underestimate us, and having to show them that we know what we're talking about and we know our kids.
Right.
But that doesn't help us. We need to stay positive. We need to change our reality to what we want our reality to be. And I talk about that in my very first podcast.
You know what you made me want to do? I'm pretty sure there's a meditation in here called I Am Positive. I'm about to type it in and see.
I like it.
That's the one we're going to have to do.
I like it.
I am
I feel
positive.
like I talked this whole time.
I'm okay. I'm here for it. Yeah.
Right.
Lisa hears me talk all the time. She's in my wellness group, so we talk all the time. It's good for her to hear from somebody else.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they do. Okay, perfect. All right, so I got our meditation pulled up. Let me share this. Share my sound. All right, this is a quick 5-minute one, and then we'll peace on out of here, ladies.
All right, sounds good.
Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
Finding any comfortable seat, or even lying down and completely surrendering to this moment. Begin to formulate an intimate connection with your breath. How does each inhale feel? Can you feel your blood? Can you feel your cells energize and rejuvenate with that oxygen intake? And then how does each exhale feel? Is it perhaps an opportunity to let go of negativity? This brings us to the affirmation for today's mindful meditation. I am positive. Let's breathe in a very specific positive thought about ourselves. And once you have that positive thought, let it circulate through your body, your heart, and your mind. And use your next exhale to release any old thoughts that keep us in self-criticism or self-doubt. Continue this deep, heart-filling breath cycle. Let the very life force that is your breath and your being elevate you into positive thinking. When we are positive, we attract joy and we attract success. When we connect with a true thought and a deep feeling of positivity and goodness, we begin the journey of attracting more positivity and goodness to ourselves. Let's inhale a joyful thought. And as you breathe it in, how does it feel to be happy and content and positive in this exact moment? Contemplate that as you exhale and surrender the weight of the world and old negativity that you may still be carrying. Instead, elevate and propel this moment into joyful positivity by breathing in an awareness of your worth, your light, and your home-based being, which is pure love itself. Keep this reminder in your mind and in your actions throughout the rest of your day, and find a peace and a happiness in your self-curated positivity.
I just love Elise. She is the
That's
best.
awesome.
She's the best. Well, ladies, I am feeling good and gonna get ready for bed.
Me
I
too.
see y'all next week.
Yes. It was nice to meet you, Tracy.
It was nice to meet you too. Wish you all the
Awesome.
best.
I'll
Next week,
be
I'm at a retreat in the mountains of Pennsylvania.
Fun.
It's called
Enjoy.
Anahata's Purpose. So I won't be attending the meeting. It starts on Thursday and I am all the way through till Sunday. I'm coming home late
Nice.
Sunday. So
Well, let us know how that goes. I hope you have so much fun. Safe travels to you.
thanks. Have a great night.
You too,
You
guys.
too.
See you later.
Bye.